guess, for some of you that have known me a while. And they said, no, we've looked at your tapes and we're aware of how you speak. And I said, okay, that's good. And I don't know, we should maybe put a disclaimer, the guys that bring their wives or women that come to the event, because it is different. But I'm reminded of the story. About 15 years ago, I was in the psychiatric healthcare business. And I had 4 psychiatrist partners, which were Indian, devout Hindus, okay? And they used to get me up in the morning. He had his own Hindu temple connected to his house, and to get up and chant. And I couldn't bend on my knees, and so then he said, you don't have to. And anyway, so we've come to the castle, and his wife had never had alcohol, and he had never had alcohol, and it was an arranged marriage from when she was about 12 or 13, and he was 14 or so. And they'd been married about 20 years, 25 years. And so on graduation night, we all are dressed in the kilts, and we have champagne, and at the table, dinner table, they're all sitting around toasting. So he didn't have a champagne poured for him, but she did, and she held it all night. And then when we got up to the snooker room, in those days, we used to watch the sun come up, playing snooker, drinking, doing not so nice things. And he was playing snooker, and he was across the table like this, and he's going like this, and then, so when she knew he could see her, she goes to the champagne. She drinks about half the glass. Now, he almost, I thought he was going to have a collapse. And then I went to visit him about 9 months later, to visit one of our units, and she used to be his controller. She was his accountant. She was an accountant. And she was pleasantly plump, fat. And when she opened the door, this beautiful, vivacious, slim, trim, makeup, dynamite-looking female opened the door and gives me a big hug and says, hi, how do you like my new look? I said, who are you? And I thought maybe the daughter. And he says, I'm whatever her name was. And I said, I think it looks pretty damn good. What does he think about it? Well, he says he doesn't care, but the way he acts around me, he does care. That, there's a difference, in which I can just imagine what that difference was. And so we have a lot of experiences with wives and females. Of course, you've been here before, Michelle. Some people think she's such a ballbuster. She's not a woman, so we'll have to see, if she's gotten any more feminine since the last time she was here. But of course, we have priests. We let anybody come, almost. Anybody. And we've never had a nun, though. Although I probably could arrange it. Yeah, I could probably arrange a nun, because we're close to several. But anyway, welcome. We're videoing this because ostensibly this is my last gig. And we want to memorialize it. I've already been offered $25,000 a copy for the film. To sell it on the internet, 25, which I'm not going to sell one copy. It's going to go in the time capsule out there, and 1,000 years from now, when the aliens come down and pull it out, and they see your faces, and they say, no wonder this race died. And I think, no wonder it's so fucked up.
Are we going to get a copy?
Fuck no. You're going to pay a lot more money than the coaching money you guys paid me to do this. The other thing I was reminded of, I have not raised the seminar price in about 15 years. And I hadn't really thought about it. Now that I'm stopping, but anyway, somebody reminded me of that. But it's not about the cost of the seminar. It's about what you learn here. And some of you have been back many times. Robert has been back. I know this is his 9th or 10th time, and he's still learning. And a few others of you have been here more than once. Chip has been here twice in a year, less than a year. And so it'll be about what you the takeaway. Later on, Klaus Kleinfeld will be here, and I know at least 1 or 2 of you probably came because he's going to be here. And he's gotten all your resumes, your CVs. He's looked at it all. He knows more about your businesses than you do. He's German. right? He knows.
Korea was late 1 hour, and he's German.
Okay.
It's not true.
Okay,
So,
I mean, and when I wrote him the email, I said, before I sent him the resumes and the CVs, I said we have some manufacturers, we got some property people, we got some internet scum, because that's what I call them. And then he wrote me back, what is internet scum? You know? And then I said there are people that...
entrepreneurs.
Yeah, entrepreneurs are pretending to be building a publishing business, etc. And he says, oh, okay. And then I put down about a paragraph about each one of you, what I know about you in addition to your CV. And so it'll be interesting how he interfaces. I know how he's going to interface with the Germans, but I was just watching him on CNN. It was on 60 Minutes or something.
60 Minutes,
yeah. And and Megan was with me, I think. And Megan says he sounds like you because he was spouting back stuff I've been pounding in his head since 1997. That basically getting a job, working 40 years, and retiring is that's a dead model. Your kids will have 6 or 7, not jobs, but careers in their lifetimes. And that's what he's saying on 60 Minutes. And they're all saying, oh, God, how brilliant he is. Of course, when I told him in 97, 98, 99, he says, this is not possible. You will come to work for Siemens, and you will work a lifetime, and you will retire and get a pension. Of course, then Siemens asked him to leave in 2007, I guess it was. But we're going to have, and there's one other that's supposedly going to make it, a medical doctor from America, Dr. Ryan Zolit, and he's not here yet. He said some sort of emergency. And so it's always nice to have a doctor, so in case any of you, should have a stroke. Now we've had people pass out during the seminar. We've had people shit their pants during the seminar. We've had people pee their pants during the seminar. As God is my witness, on my 3 children's head. But the greatest one was the partner of, was it Deloitte or KPMG? KPMG partner crapped his pants, then wrote me a letter on KPMG's stationery. Said, Dan, thank you so much. I used to use it as a slide. Thank you so much because I knew when I shit my pants that I was still alive. So I'm using this slide for about 4 or 5 years, and then we had a partner of Price Waterhouse and someplace else, and they said, Dan, we're not even with that firm, but it makes us all look bad. Can you stop using that slide? And I did stop using it, but I still remember. And I haven't seen him in a while, but he never asked me not to use the letter, because I told him to fuck off anyway, but, pardon?
Did he know?
Yeah, he knew I was using, not in the beginning he didn't, but towards the end. But has everybody got a drink? Now we're making posts to YouTube from morning, well actually from tonight, and then when we start the seminar, and the last 10 or 15 minutes of the evening when we end it. The normal hours are going to be 8 to 6, depending on if we get ahead or we get behind. But 8 in the morning, breakfast is at 7, which I think you've already been told. And dinner normally is at 8:30ish. And we normally meet down here for drinks at 7:30-ish. And one of the most important things is for you, it's not mandatory, but if you want to talk to me privately, that you book times, with Kim, who's my assistant here, and to talk about the paperwork that you filled out for me and the questions. It always ceases to amaze me that paperwork can be incomplete or bullshit. And when you've done this as many times as I have, this is my 20th year, and this is the 19th year for giving them here at my home, Guthrie Castle, that you can just read the documents and know it's bullshit. And certain races tend to bullshit more, certain races bullshit less. I'm not going to pinpoint any because the ethnic groups are present here today, but some just are full of shit. And anybody from Italy here? No. Well, they are normally the most full of the most shit. The Italians, and come the French and a couple others. But it's just, I think it's in their genes. You'll hear me beat up on Tip, who is Romanian, and I'll be calling him a gypsy off and on, but she's not. But it sounds good. It sounds good, you know. And we've had, you know, just about every ethnic group that you can possibly think of. We've had people from the French Foreign Legion. We've had priests. We've had medical doctors. We've had, you know, accountants. We've had everything you can imagine that have come through the program. And to date, the most successful, primarily as a group, have been women. As a group. Well, not that many women come through, but when they do come through, they're successful. Klaus is the most successful corporate leader that the program has produced. Klaus Heinfeld. He hasn't made the most money because he's in the corporate world. He became a really big shot in the corporate world just at the end of the corporate CEO stealing all the big money. So he was on the cusp. So he didn't, and plus he worked for Siemens, and Siemens didn't believe he was paying anybody a whole lot of money like some of the other companies. And then we've had Olympic athletes. We have all kinds of world champions. I've coached world champion basketball teams. The last Olympian that we had here was about 8 years ago. And but it all depends. And it's not all about money, although that's the only thing I keep track of. But it's not all about money. Your lives will change forever. Some of you will decide to use a lot of what you learn. Some of you will decide to only use a small portion of what you learned here. But even if it's a small portion, to change your life. Like it's not easy to change a priest's life. It's not. Plus, Father George is a slow learner, as we both know, and which will come out in the week-long seminar. And but he's back for another beating, and that takes balls, as Chip will attest to. Some people adhere to the beatings better than others. The Germans like being beat for the most part. Once in a while you get a German that doesn't like being beat, but for the most part, yeah, it's their upbringing, I think, that they like the stick. And they came to the right place. They definitely came to the right place, because I know how to give the stick. Some people are, by the second or third day, you'll become more used to it. And when we start role-playing, which I think we start role-playing at the end of the second day, and you have to interface with somebody else, and you have to sell them your idea, and you have to try to convince somebody about why somebody should give you, 50,000 euros or 50 million euros, it's a completely different thing. The first time, some of you will stutter and not be able to get the words out of your mouth because you're not used to it. By the last day, you'll be pretty good at it. And we've made some changes since October. Some pretty big changes. As I went back and I looked at what worked since October, just as I looked last October, what worked since May. And it's funny, some different things worked since October that either we didn't emphasize in seminars gone by, or I didn't emphasize it correctly. So I went back and I looked at it, and I was just making changes up until about an hour and a half ago. I changed the last slide about 90 minutes ago. And I lost the entire seminar twice today, because I forgot to save it. Is that what I did?
Sort of.
Yeah, sort of. But he found it someplace in the dark recesses of my laptop. And I said, thank God. It must be because Father George is coming to I would have been shit out of luck. Because I had no time to make up all those slides, the ones that I changed. Because we've got about 1,300 slides, and I changed about 200 of them. So there's no human way God would have had to intervene for sure. So instead of God, Robert found it. And then I did it again. And then I just took the goddamn thumb drive out of the machine and said, forget it, I've made enough changes, I'm not going to change anything more. Because obviously I'm doing something wrong. But I'm sure you'll enjoy it, and there's a lot of good stuff. Now, weren't, unlike some other seminars, and then I don't consider this an expensive seminar. Somebody today told me that he thought it was expensive. I really don't think it's so expensive, but especially since I haven't raised the price in 10, 12 years. But you're not here to bond. You're not here to make friends. And I mean that sincerely. Because Marcus's mistakes should not rub off on Michelle, and Michelle's mistakes should not rub off on Sip. And the same for Ricardo, the same for, how do you pronounce it? Gurmit. And but the tendency is, because when you start getting beat up and your nerve endings are sensitive, you want to cuddle like dogs in the cold. You want to cuddle together and and look for sympathy, because you won't get it from me. So you'll go off to somebody that that I might have beat up, but that's not what you're here for. You're here to have those nerve endings opened up. You're here to suffer. And as Robert and I were discussing this morning or this afternoon, the difference between this experience and Tony Robbins, who I know well, and all these other guys, they sell you, for the most part, a happy experience, and it's easy. Well, real life has already taught you that it's not easy, and life isn't always happy. So I dwell on the bad times, because anybody can manage, even this Romanian gypsy can manage stuff in the good times when everything's going his way. But very few people can manage chaos. Very few people can manage when the fucking floor falls out. That's what my expertise is, and that's what I've done very successfully for a lot of years. And I've been in this home 29 years this August. And in fact, since I've lost a bunch of weight, I had this suit made by the Royal Family's tailor in 1986. I can still wear the clothes I had in 1986. Which, when you get 30 years older, we'll see if you can still wear the same clothes 30 years on. But we've been giving seminars here since 1994, and we've had some real successes. I also talk about the catastrophes we've had. I was going through my notes, and I'm going to show you something tomorrow or the next day. A guy was buying a 55,000 square foot house, one of my mentees, which is about as big as this castle, 55,000. 5,500 square meters. And he went straight in the toilet. I have had mentees that have bought me Rolls Royces as gifts. Went straight in the toilet. So we've had, and Robert, who's known me a long time, it's amazing how people fall off the rails. And they always fall off for a different reason. Their 14-year-old daughter got pregnant. Their 19-year-old son is gay, and even though I don't care that he's gay, but you really do care that he's gay. My father's got dementia. My mother was caught with a gardener. I mean, I can tell you, I can give you 1,000 million reasons why they fall off the rails. And I got even a few holy people that have fallen off the rails, which I don't think is right to share. Not this one, but I mean other holy people I know. I used to have a friend, a longtime friend, who was a Catholic priest, and he said, Dan, I'm not an angel. And I said, John, I know that. I've known you a long, long time. And he says, but either are you. So when people say that you're an angel, and Father George says I'm an angel, which isn't true, but a lot of holy people say I'm an angel. If an angel gives money to the poor, then I'm an angel. If that's the definition of an angel, then...
Not the only reason.
That's not the only reason. Okay, I didn't ask you to talk yet, so just be quiet right now.
No, but then we've got your mother.
Yeah, then my mother thought I was an angel to the day she died, and she died here, unfortunately. And no matter what I did wrong, I used to scream at people on the phone, and I'd put down the phone, and she'd say, you're just kidding, aren't you? What do you mean, Mom? You wouldn't talk to people that way. You wouldn't talk to a human being that way, would you? Mom, do you think I'm just doing this for exercise? And she says, no. So then when I finally convinced her that I was telling somebody those bad things, you're just like your father. You're a beast. You're an animal. He was an animal. He killed people. Which is all true, but... So, anyway. Any questions before we get started? Is it time to et? It is? Any questions before we get started? Anything, The tower has been here since 1468. We have 2 ghosts. And the ghost room, here.
Yeah.
Right above us, actually. But that room is being renovated right now.
That's most probably why they'll be unhappy, so they'll be out.
Yeah, that's
Wandering
exactly,
around.
exactly right.
Since they're unhappy.
Every time we do renovation, they go out and about. The 2 lady ghosts, one's a Lady Guthrie, and one's a black Jamaican nanny. One died in the early 1600s, one died in the mid 1700s, and the Bishop of St. Andrews, the local bishop, which is about 40 miles from here, was the first person to ever see the ghost. Now, we've had plenty of ghost experiences here. We've had people that can't get out of bed because there's a heavy pressure holding them down. We've had firemen, policemen, electricians that have run out of here. We've had swirling winds in that room right there.
I'm here, don't worry.
Okay. That would lift the furniture around. I've only had one experience with a ghost. I've only seen one. Daylight, I was stone sober. Right outside my office, I saw the black chick. And if you see a woman wearing a red long dress with a keychain around her, that's the nanny. And if you see a lady that looks, when we get into the dining room, you'll see a big picture of Lady Guthrie. That's, I've never seen her. My children swear that they've seen the ghost when they were little. And we've got other people. But nobody, since we've done renovation. So they may be out and about. If you want a ghost experience, tell Kim and she'll try to make an appointment, and maybe they'll oblige you.
It's interesting because the room actually always was called the ghost room. Even in the pictures, if you look
Correct.
at the pictures that are actually in the bathroom, that's what they had it down as.
Yeah.
And because of the weddings and things like that, we changed it to the Guthrie Suite, so we didn't frighten people.
Now I think that these fat slappers that come here to get married, when we could sell more from the ghost side of it. Now, Megan, who's the council manager, I don't think agrees with me. She thinks it might be more difficult to sell the idea. But we also have a snooker and a games room up in the tower, which some of you have seen, which is open to you. Tonight we're going to have some homework after we have our evening meal and have some drinks. And we have homework, I believe, 4 out of 6 nights that you'll be required to come the next morning to present. The homework tonight is to view the film that we're going to watch. Some of you have already seen it, and then comment on it tomorrow, how it might affect what you're trying to do. Now, the numbers that's in the movie, or that are portrayed in the movie, are big time stealing, hundreds of millions and billions. So that's my goal for you to be there. Not stealing, but doing deals, hundreds of millions and billions. And we've certainly had some big hitters here. Okay, there's no questions. We'll go in and eat now.